So yeah, my name's Dominic. I'm the education evangelist for Adobe, and I work a lot in secondary and primary schools, teaching them how to bring together traditional and digital learning. And one of the easiest ways that we see that happening is through Adobe Spark. Adobe Spark is completely free, and it has three main things in there. It has Spark Page, Spark Post, and Spark Video. Now, it's a cloud-based tool. So it doesn't matter if you're using it on a phone, on an iPad, on a desktop, on a laptop, on a Chromebook. Everything syncs up in the cloud, and that's one of the number one things that kind of makes life easier for teachers. Every student can have their own account, and it doesn't matter where they work. It's always going to sync up, which is great. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about how we can use this. Yeah, and I think what we decided with the guys at Pew was that we were going to look at sort of English and science. We were going to look at those two things. So the first thing I'll say is that I'm using the desktop here. So, you know, if you're using the desktop, you go to spark.adobe.com. Now, if you're using a phone or a tablet, you would download the Adobe Spark apps individually. So you download Adobe Spark Page, Adobe Spark Post, and Adobe Spark Video, right? And so you've got Adobe Spark Video, which, you know, does what it says on the tin. That is a video editor. You've got Adobe Spark Post, and that's, if you think about Poster, it's kind of like an early graphics design program. And then you've got Adobe Spark Page, which is essentially a web. They call it a web designer, but really it's like a web story builder. Very sort of early days, but of sort of web design. But it's a really good way to bring work together, and it's very, very simple to do. Now, but because I'm using a laptop here, then I go to spark.adobe.com and everything's in the same place. Now with Spark, whenever you press a plus, that's what you're looking for. You're always looking for a plus. So that's how you actually create your media. One thing I will show you just is I've got all of my different sort of examples of using Spark down here. I can filter them by which type of Spark they are, whether it's a Spark Page, a web page, Spark Post, the graphic design, Spark Video, the actual video editor itself. Or I can create folders. So I've got lots of different folders up here, and I can organize work that way. So that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with creating a project. Now there's lots of different ways to do this. These are some of the more common ones down the left-hand side here. With Spark Video and Spark Page, they're the only two options that you really have. Okay. Spark Post is the one where you get lots of different options, because it's very social media-y. Okay. You know, it's used very heavily by the social media community. But one thing you can do is go down to View All here. And if you select graphics or web pages or videos, then, you know, it's going to tell you sort of the different templates that you can use. But we'll start off with graphics here, and you can select any one of these. So maybe I'll select, just for ease of size, I'll select Twitter quotes. Okay. So what I'm going to show you how to do here is just how to create something really, really basic. And we're going to use something called dual coding. So dual coding is something which is getting really, really popular with teachers now. And it's about when you want to remember something, or when you want to understand a new concept, you want to give your learner sort of two different ways to actually understand that piece of content. So for example, if you were going to do a quote so we've got a quote here, that's kind of why I chose this. If you're going to do a quote for you might be doing Shakespeare, for example, right? And this is one of the most famous quotes from Romeo and Juliet. So I'm just going to copy that. And, you know, English GCSE, it's always a closed book exam. You can't take your book in, so you have to learn your quotes. How do you learn your quotes effectively? Well, you can write them down a million times, but you know, linking this back to dual coding, if you write it down a million times, that's great, but you're actually only giving yourself one sort of stream or one sort of channel of information, and that's words on a page. Okay, that's the only way that you're relying on remembering that. So we can use Spark Post to actually give our learners two sources of information, one being the actual words. So I've done that, I've copied that, I've changed it in there. You can use the little sliders to make it as big or as small as possible. Okay, you can see when I'm moving it around, it kind of centers itself. You can see it centered horizontally there, and we need it to center horizontally and vertically. So you need to move it left, and then you'll See it pop up there. So I've got both of them slap bang in the middle. Okay, I can always just, you know, change it to as big as I want to just by doing that. Now down here, we've got this, Albert Einstein didn't say that quote. It's from Act 1, Scene 5. You can see it down there, Act 1, Scene 5. So what I'll put is Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 5. Okay, cool. So we've got that there. I can make that as big as I want as well. I'll probably keep it smaller than the main quote text, because I just think that's probably that's the most important thing in here. But now this background, this is where the dual coding comes in. So obviously a goldfish bowl isn't going to help our learners to actually understand what this means. Okay, so I want to change that up. So so this is kind of like a stock image. So I want to replace it. I can click here, or I can click over there. If I click here, now, if you think about this quote, oh, she doth teach, okay? So if I put teacher in here, then I can scroll down through these 3 photos here and pick one. Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, it's she doth teach, so it's a female. We're looking for a female teacher, and there we are, we've got one. So automatically we're saying dual coding is where you have the text, and we've got it in the middle there. But then we've also got a piece of visual information in order to help the student remember that. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to layout. And you see this is our layout here. But actually, we've got oh, she does teach. And so I've got the teacher behind. But actually, I want the torches to burn bright. I want to create sort of a visual representation of that as well. So I'm going to click in my grid. I can choose any of these types of grids. But I just need a sort of basic two-part grid here. Now you'll see that that's affected what we see in this image here. Now you can scale in and scale out. I think I'll do that, and I'll also just pull that over so we can see that the teacher is writing something on the board there. And then in here, we can now add another picture in here. Okay, so I'm going to add a photo. We'll go to find 3 photos again. Now, of course, if you've got a photo that you want to use, you just click upload and you can get it there, and you can pick whatever you like in here. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go to find 3 photos, and then I'm going to put what am I going to put? Torches, something like that. See what we've got. Okay, we haven't really got much for that. Torch. These are all the kind of ooh, that one's pretty good. Add to collage. Perfect. Look at that. I really like that. So did you see what happened there? It said, do you want to add this to collage, or do you want to move it freely? Moving it freely would mean that you just give it as a graphic that you can sort of move around the screen. But I like the way it clips it into the collage there. Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it in, because there's lots of visual information. If you scale it out, you've got the moped, you've got the cars, you've got the streets, you've got the bus here or wherever it is. But I'm going to scale it right in, because for this dual coded image, I really want to make sure that we're focusing in on the things that I want the students to remember. So on the left, it's, oh, she doth teach. We've got a female teacher writing on the board like teachers do. And what does she do? Well, she teaches the torches to burn bright. And here we've got a flaming torch, and we can scale that in, you know, as much as we want to make that sort of more visually kind of memorable, I guess would be the word. And then you can also do things like select this text. You can give it a kind of, give it a background if you like. I mean, I don't particularly like that one. I might change it to that. Yeah, that's a bit better. But I mean, I won't sort of spend too much time going on all the effects that you can use, because there's just loads of them. You can go to text effects here as well. You can kind of do cutouts and shadows, and you can change the color if you want to. It's saying that as a suggested color. I didn't like that at all, to be fair. So I might just go back, keep it as white. But you can also go down to here, the style wheel. This is pretty cool. So you can click style wheel, and then it will sort of give you different suggestions that you can use to see whether you want them or not. Let me show you with something like that, for example. Then I might go to text effects and then put an outline on it, because you can see, because it's black, if I put an outline on it, then that's not too bad. And then I go to the color, but I'll also put Oh, that's better. You can see that it's changed from white and it's got a grey stroke on it, so it really defines itself against the background. So that is that's how you would use something like Spark Post for English. Really good way to learn all your quotes. Whenever you want to download it, you can just press there. You can select you know, JPEG if you like, start download. It's downloading there to my machine. Another way that you can share it is by clicking there and you can publish it. Okay. And what that'll do is it'll, if you select link it, I mean, if you're using Google Classrooms, or you can email your teacher directly if you're hooked onto the school email system, but you can also create a link. And what that'll do is create a public link. So if I copy that, go to a new tab here, paste that in, there you go. It's kind of on its own web page, which is pretty cool. That's a nice way to send in homework. Let me show you a really quick way to do that for science as well. So if I went to, so this is a good way to have a look at things as well. You can search graphics templates. So I could go in here. I've actually searched for this one already. And you've got sort of, you know, hundreds and hundreds of different templates that you can use. Okay, I think I'm going to go for this one. Right, and when you select a template, you can edit the template. So I'm going to edit that one. And what I'm looking for here is a way to use this in science. Okay, so in science, I did a teach with a school in Hertfordshire the other day, and the science teacher there was looking at animal adaptation. Okay, so we've got this one, animal adaptation of a tiger, and someone's done a bit of research here, and they've found out why a tiger's coat is striped or how it helps them, and then also the tiger's sense of hearing. Okay, so if I go to my image here. Again, you know, I can just replace these photos. So I said that the first thing I wanted was about the tiger's fur. Right, so if I go into my free photos, I can select that one, for example. And then we've got the sort of tiger's really distinctive fur there, right? If I went to here and I could replace this one again, and I could go to, if I just go to tiger again, then this one is all about hearing. Okay, so I'm looking for one that might be appropriate. Let's just choose anyone. Let's just choose that one, and let me show you what we can do here. So, you know, you can move this around. Oh, scaled in by accident. You can move this. Oh, I'm just moving them at will now. Let me just move this back this way. Okay. Then if I scale it in, I can scale it so that we get a nice little shot of the tiger's ear, for example. Right. And then we've got down here, we can change the title. I've just double clicked on that text and I put animal adaptations or animal adaptation. Okay, that's our new title, and then I'll change animals to tiger. Okay. Now, if I select that one and select this one, I can drag that. Maybe what I'll do is, I'm dragging all three. I'll drag all three of them together. So I can also select this one as well. And now when I select them, they'll all drag at the same time. Okay, let me get rid of that. Let's try and get rid of this one as well, and this one as well. Okay, get rid of this arrow. It's not really doing much for me. Animal adaptation tiger. Okay, let me just grab that, center that there. Now I've got my text here. The jungle stripe coat helps them blend in well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let me just go back. I wanted to add in some text. So I'm going to, you've got all sorts of different sort of text templates that you can use there, but I'm going to add my text, pop it in there, done. And what you'll see is it just creates a kind of a box for you here. So what I can do is, this one's all about the tiger striped coat. So I'm going to resize that. There we go. Okay, nice. I can center that if I like. And this is just a really easy way to create a kind of a visual learning aid that somebody can use in order to represent the information rather than it just being words on a page like it is on this Google Doc, for example. I can just, let me get these out of the way, select them all, and then I can pop in some more text here, add my text, Again, it's going to do that. And then again, I can just match that up. And you can see how you could just, you know, keep on going with this so that you could have 4 different adaptations over the top here. And then you could, you know, do a little explanation on what each one of them was all about. Now, I probably got a little bit too much text down here. I wouldn't necessarily do that. I'd probably take that and, you know, condense it down into 1 or 2 shorter sentences. But that's how you would use it for science, for example. And then you can download here, start the download. You can also share it there. You can also rename stuff up here. So it could be Tiger Adaptations. Okay, cool. Right. We've had a look at post. And what we're going to look at now is video. Okay, so I'm going to create a project. This is where the magic always starts. Create a project, and then I'm going to go down to video. What am I going to do here? Let's do a bit of poetry. Why I run. Okay, click next. Now you've got all of these different templates on here. I don't tend to use them that much, to be fair. I think they're more for like I don't know, like maybe social media agencies and stuff like that. But certainly, I always start from scratch. But you can use those templates. It's worth having a look at them anyway. So what am I going to show you here? So I'm going to show you how to use it for poetry. So you might be doing poetry in like GCSE English, for example, or with Key Stage 3. And this is a really simple poem, which is called Why I Run. Okay. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to teach them about rhyming couplets. You've got fun, gun, pain, rain, burn, on, alone, milestone. I wanted to teach them about rhyming couplets, but I also wanted to give them a structure. So I said, you know, I want you to start every sentence with why, and I want you to create your own poem about a sort of physical activity that you enjoy doing. So there is always a tutorial at the start here, but you don't need that. I'm going to show you how to do things. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Now, Spark Video is super simple. You've got all of these things down the bottom here. If you want to add new clips or scenes, that's the way I think about them, clips or scenes, then you just press the plus down there. You can also just change the position of them at any time you like. Right, so I've got my first one here. You can see in terms of layout, we've got full screen selected here, but you can do split screen, caption, title and text. And I'll just put this, Why I Run. Okay, cool. Now you can change the size of the text. This is why Spark is so good, because everything's just really intuitive. I want to add something. Don't forget, whenever you want to do something, just look for an ad and you'll probably find it. You can pop some photos in there. I'm going to use photos today, a lot of the free photos, because I think it's one of the best. Things about Spark, and also it's really quick, which is good for today because we're kind of on limited time. Right, so you can pick any of these. So it might be this one here. Now you will see that there's kind of a little edit button here. You can click that. You can zoom in. You can grab it and drag it around if you want to. Also with this text, you know, you can also just click off it. You can also move it around wherever you like. Bottom left, bottom right, top left, top right, in the center, wherever you like. But I think that's pretty cool. And then I'm also going to show you how to use this voiceover function, which is Spark Video actually used to be called Spark Voice. It got changed to Spark Video, so that's pretty cool. So I can just click that and hold it, and it will record my voice immediately. Why I Run, a poem by Dominic Traynor. Let go, and then I can press this little play button here, and it's actually playing in my headphones, but you can't hear that. Okay, so you can see how it animates the text to come in and come out. That's pretty cool. You can change the theme down here. You can change colors in the theme if you want to. We haven't really got anything in there at the moment, so it's not really going to change too much. But also you'll see as I'm previewing over the different ones, it shows you what the transitions look like as well. So this one's more of a cinema curtain style. This one's more of a bubble coming up and coming out. Okay, so we've got Why I Run. And then this is just really simple. So I'm copying that text. I pop it in there. I can change the layout of this one. I can put it to a caption, and it'll make it a bit smaller. And here's, you know, this is just, oh, that one's cool. Why I put on my trainers just for fun. Nice. You can see how that makes that look a little bit nicer now. You can obviously change Just there you go, change where that text is. Again, you can zoom in and move it over slightly if you want. And then again, you can just record your voiceover. Why I put on my trainers, just for fun. And what I normally say for each clip is you want to make sure that they're not over 15 seconds. Each one of these boxes here, they take a maximum of 30 seconds. And that is really designed for two reasons. First reason is because you don't really want too many big video file sizes in there. And also because this is meant to be a kind of, it's not meant to be to make a Hollywood epic. It's meant to be for making short, educational style video prompts. You know, it's not an Adobe Premiere or Adobe Rush or something like that. This is a really short one where you're sort of encouraged to keep it light, keep it quick, and I think that's all the better for using it in the classroom as well. There are different things that you can do on here as well. You can use split screen. So while I listen for the starters gun, I can pop that on this side. I can, you know, increase the size of the text there, and it'll sort of, then it'll center it for me, which is nice. You know, I could put some video in there. I'm not going to show that today just because we're light on time. But, you know, I'll just keep on showing you the photos. So it'll be, you know, I wonder if there's like, yeah, this one's pretty cool. Why I listen for the starters gun. That's great. I love that. Again, you know, as always, you can just wait for that photo to load, and then I can, you know, zoom in if I want to, like sort of move it around. And again, anytime you want to just create a new scene, you just pop another scene in there if you want to. You can play around with icons as well. So icons for running, there we go. That's pretty cool. You know, there's all sorts of things. They can be quite useful actually, depending on what the task is that you're doing. That one's quite cool. So you just click and they just change, and then you can go, you know, select your text if you want to, or you can put it in as a voiceover. And you will see here, this part here tells you the length of each slide. You can change that by doing here, but you can also, it will also adapt to the length of your voiceover. So my voiceover here was 4 seconds long. But if I record a new voiceover here and I make it more than 4 seconds long because I really want to show you how this works, then once I let go, that one's now 8 seconds. Okay, and I can remove narration if I want to and make that slide silent again, or I can press the voiceover button there and just record straight over the top. If you want to preview any slide individually, you can click here, and I can hit that in my headphones. But you can also press the play button there, and it will play in this kind of larger size screen, which is handy for when you want to see what it's going to look like at the end. Just like we did with the oh, let me show you the music as well. So you can change the music, and you can select and try all of these different pieces of music, or you can add your own music, turn it off, or change the sort of the volume of it. And what I would say is that with Spark Video, when you put music on, it's going to put music on for the whole thing. Okay, you can't turn it off slide by slide. Okay, that's when you need to start getting into a sort of more powerful video editor. Spark Video is all about getting your pupils or getting your students to use it for really short pieces of learning, which is why it's so handy for the classroom. Okay, let's go back here. I'll also show you how to you know, do the same kind of thing for, you know, I did another science project with this teacher, and it was about genetic disorders, the research task. But equally, you know, you can do exactly the same like we did for that sort of English poetry example. So this one was, so we call it genetic disorders. I'll start from scratch again. Get rid of that tutorial. I would definitely recommend you watch that once you get going. I might change this one to title and text. So I might put genetic disorders, and then so it might be by Dominic Trainer. Okay, now you might select something in the background here, and it might be I think mine was on cancer. Okay, So, you know, we might put something like this in the background, you know, put in our, what have I got here? Genetic disorders. So what causes it? So here's the research question, for example. So this is quite a neat way of doing things. So you could go here and you say, what causes it? And then you could, you know, change the size of it. I might put something in the background, something, I don't know, laboratory. Yeah, something like that might be quite cool. Okay, and then so you can put the question in there, and then in your voiceover, this is where you're going to this is where you would add your voiceover to answer that question, if that makes sense. So I put in here, cancer is often a hereditary disease passed down through a family. There are also lifestyle choices that can cause cancer. Okay, so we've got the question on screen, and then I'm answering it with the voiceover. Equally, you know, we could do it in a different way, which is split screen. And, you know, you could have the question on one side, and then you could have an image which kind of represents your answer, and then you could voice over it again. So that would be going a step further, which is really cool. Okay, let me now go on to, I'll go back to my screen here. So that was video. We've already done post. One thing I would say about video is that you can use your own videos, and I do often use my own videos, but I would say that it does take a little bit of time to render. So during a live demonstration, I don't often use my own videos, just because it can really sort of slow things down, because I'm trying to present at the same time as getting it to render, and sometimes the machine doesn't like that. So because it's all in the cloud, you see, so I'm presenting using Teams, which is taking up bandwidth, and then I'm trying to render a video, and sometimes those two things don't quite mix. So we've done Spark Post, we've done Spark Video, and now we're going to do Spark Page. Okay, so if I press Page here, now this is quite a cool one. I'll show you how to use it for English. So we've got cycle helmets, and then we might put something like 200-word challenge. So this is something I've been doing quite a lot of schools, where I've actually set them a video that they need to watch. They've watched that video about cycle helmets and all the research behind cycle helmets. Should you wear them? Should you not wear them? What are the stats? What are happening in Scandi countries, for example, where they kind of don't wear helmets, but they cycle a lot, and blah, blah, blah. And then I set the students 4 questions. So you can see the 4 questions in bullet points here. So let's take this first question. Okay. So we've got cycle helmets. Let me just go and find my free photo here. So I might put cycling. Okay, that one's quite cool. I like that. Now, here is my 200-word challenge homework for Mr. Pugh. Okay, cool. Now I've got my, I can select that, and I can censor it if I want. I can change it to header 1, change it to header 2, change it to a quote style, and anything like that is absolutely fine. Okay, you see, Spark Page is so simple. I really like it for school, because these are your options, and that's it. Okay, so here's my 200-word challenge homework for Mr. Pugh. And then what I'm going to do is I'll show you how to use a split layout. So we had a question here. I'll change it to H1. Do you think wearing a helmet while cycling should be made law? Okay, now that's a bit big, that text there. So maybe I'm going to change it to H2. That's a bit better. Okay, so I've got my question, and then here's my answer. So the reason why I really like this is because you can, you can get students to, do their homework on, Microsoft Word or Google Docs or whatever it is that you're using. But doing it on Spark Page makes it way more visual. Okay, so we've got, I believe that wearing helmets while cycling on the road should definitely be made law, blah, blah, blah. So let's go here. Let's see if we've got any other. This one's cool. And this is where it kind of starts touching into that sort of dual coding idea as well, where you're giving your learner 2 ways to kind of think about the information, because we've got written information down here, but then we've got sort of you know, visual stimulus. And I'm saying here, I believe that wearing a helmet while cycling on the road should definitely be made law. And here we've got a cyclist on a road wearing a helmet. So that's kind of backing up what I'm saying. So I like that. And then if I keep on going with the split layout, then what you'll see is it had the image on the left there, but now it's got the image on the right. Okay, so what I'll do is I've got my second question here. How might being forced to wear a helmet affect the popularity of cycling? So I'll pop that in as text, make sure it's H2. And then I've got my, this is my answer to that. Cool. Let me go here, add some text in. That's just normal style. Now, let me show you, let's go to YouTube, for example. And I'll put bike helmet research. Okay, now we've got this video here. Let's wait till this advert goes. Cool. So it should cyclists be forced to wear helmets. So one of the things you can do in Spark Page, which is really cool, is you can add in a video. I really like that. And what it'll do is it'll just put it straight in there. So you could say, you know, make sure that you, you know, link to the research that you used in order to answer this question. So we can put a little video in there. And also let me show you on this one as well. I could pop it in actually as a button as well. So my research, pop the link in, center the button, and there it is. Okay. I'll add an image in here. So, so how would being forced to wear a helmet affect the popularity of cycling? If I put in something like BMX, for example, the reason why I put it in BMX is that sometimes BMX riders don't really like wearing helmets. And there we go. We got two BMX dudes with attitude down there. I'm going to click on the photo. Let me just show you how to change the focal point, just to make sure that we're definitely seeing that this young man is not wearing a helmet, and now there's this young girl down here. I've just changed the focal point on the photo. Now you can also add in things like a photo grid. That's fairly self-explanatory. Glide show is a very good one as well. Let me show you this. So let me just select a few sort of cycling photos. Okay, and I'll do that one as well. Okay, I didn't choose that for any particular reason, just for speed. Now instead of doing a split layout, I can do a glide show, and it's really nice how it does this. So it kind of works in exactly the same way, but the animation of or when you scroll through the text is just slightly different. So let me show you how it works. Pop in my text here. Cool, and then just do it. Just bear with me while I do this next bit. Do you know what? Let me select all of it together. Go to my second photo. This will really show you how this works when we go to the next. You see how that's, I pasted them all at the same time, and it actually put them into two different sections, which is what I wanted. Right, so now that we've got our, we've answered our 4 questions and 200-word challenge, let me show you this now. You know, you can share and publish and share the link. You can even print it and save it as a PDF if you want as well. So you can do the kind of normal thing where you create a link. Might take 5 or 10 seconds just for that to go through. You can copy that and send it to your teacher or whoever you like. But what I really like about this is when you present, it does this in a really stylish way. Now you can scroll through just like you would do normally, but you can also use a left and right arrow. It's really good for presentations. You can click on this link and it'll take you through to that YouTube video that we were looking at. You can play the YouTube video directly in the window here, which is kind of nice. And then here's the glide show. So here you had the split screen, one side and one side. And then the glide show is different because it kind of, you know, it kind of animates. You see the way it animates between the 2 photos there. So I just think this is a really, really cool way to get young people writing in a way that they wouldn't normally do. Okay, and then I'm not sure about time right now, but I think I've got time just to show one more quick thing. If I haven't, just one of the Pew guys just jump in and let me know. But otherwise, I'll crack on.
No, you're fine, mate. You carry on.
How long have we got?
Yeah, how long is it going to take you? It should be fine.
Probably about four minutes.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Cool. All right. So we're going to go to. I'll go to. Do you know? Tell you what I'll do. Let me give myself another Spark page here. All right. So the reason why I wanted to do this, I wanted to show you how to use Spark Page as a kind of portfolio. Okay. So if I go to create a project here, create a web page. So it could be my science portfolio, for example. Dom. So I'll put like Dom trainer, and it might be 8B, something like that. That might be my class. Okay. So I'm going to go to find photos. Now, obviously, if your learners have kind of come up with their own photos and stuff like that, you can absolutely put them in, but I don't have. It's been a while since I was in a science class. So there's my science portfolio, right? And then this, I could put, here is a collection of my science projects during year 8. Okay. Now, as always, you can go in and you can change how that looks. Let me show you themes as well. This is how you change different themes. At the moment, we're using Crisp down here. Luca's probably my favorite, but there's loads of good ones. Like Baldwin's pretty good, and Trek is the other good one. And what you'll see here is it kind of just frames it with these red lines. That's what makes Luca pretty cool, I think. So here's a collection of my science projects during year 8. I might show you. I might go to split layout again. I do really like split layout for Adobe Spark Page. And what I'm going to do is, so for example, let me have a look. I'm going to go to posts, and then I've got, here's an animal adaptation photo post. So I'm going to download that. Okay, so it's down there, science one. It's in my downloads folder. So actually, let me go here and show you how to put that in just as a photo. So if I go to upload photo, should be in my downloads. Let's go here. There we go. Now, one for animal adaptation I did last time. That was a bit sort of clearer than the example that I did live. So you can put some text underneath and you say, you know, I used Adobe Spark post in order to create my adaptation poster. Okay, I can make that H1 if I want. I can make it into a quote, which is quite cool. And I'll just leave it there. Okay. Then I can put things like, so here I might sort of be showing off when I did genetic disorders, for example. So that one, there we go. That's a kind of a nice photo for it. And I'll put some text and I'll put genetic disorder project. Change that into header 1. What do I need to do here? I need to go, if I search for videos now, I've got my, I've actually got a complete one here. So let me share it. Oh, hang on. Go here, share. Stop disappearing. Share, publish. Oh, there we go. Now I've already published this one before, so it should just give me the straight link. Okay, it said it made some changes. You can update the link. That is one thing to remember. If you do make any changes, you need to update your link, but I'm not bothered about that for now. I'm going to add in some video, pop it in there. So you can do YouTube, Vimeo, or Spark video. So Spark video is a really good way to do this because you can keep everything within Spark itself. And here's where you kind of start building up a sort of portfolio of the different things that you've done in science over the year. We've done a Spark post. We've done a sort of video genetic disorder project, and you can add in some text and whatever you like. You know, if you had a sort of science day out or whatever, you could use a photo grid and you can just, you know, add in different photos from your science trip that you've got on your machine, for example, and you could put, let me just put a little title on there, my year 8, oh, There we go. Year 8 science trip. Okay, and you know, as always, whenever you want to present, you can click that present button, give it a second to load. There we go. And if I just go to the top, you know, it scrolls through really nicely, and you can have a look at the different things that you've done. You can, you know, open it up in your page and just play that video from within there if you like. Nice. Okay, that is pretty much it. I mean, I've got a million more examples, but I think what we'll do for now is we'll just, I'll hand it back to the guys at Pew and you can tell us what you need. Is that
Hi,
right?
Dominic. Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm sure everyone will agree it was a great insight into Adobe Spark. As we're recording this, I'm definitely going to pass it on to my wife because she's a teacher, and I'm sure she'll definitely take great benefit from it then. Right, I'm just going to get my slides up here. Yeah, I can get Chris. Can I get my slides up, please, mate? So as I said, we're one of 4 education elite partners in the UK, of Adobe in the UK. Because of this, we can bring you the latest updates of products and of updates of products. We're really excited about Adobe Spark, and as Dominic has shown, it is it's a great application to get your students up and running on a creative journey. So we see the natural progression of, we get the next slide, please, Chris. We see the natural progression as Creative Cloud. So one of the benefits of Creative Cloud with, for instance, with a named user license, children have actually been able to keep creating at home over the past few months. It gives you 20 of the best creative apps in the world, and you know, your students will be able to create anything they can imagine. So from editing, composing, and creating beautiful images using the Photoshop, or designing unique layouts with the InDesign app. So Creative Cloud definitely has you covered from all aspects of creativity, from the classroom and beyond. So as we've been talking about creativity, we see the Microsoft Surface and the Lenovo range as the leading devices to enhance your creativity. With their high spec, they're really powerful devices when running resource-intensive tasks, and with their large storage space for files and documents. One of the Surface, so we've got Microsoft Surfaces here at Pew, and one of the great positives of that is during its ease of portability. So during remote working over the last few months, me having it at home, I've really seen the benefit of it. Being able to pick it up and go, change my scene when the distractions come about. So in my case, it's been with barking dogs around and my wife's endless deliveries. But also then when moving from the library to the classroom, when we head back to the learning environment, you can also, as you can see on screen there, you can add accessories to the Surface with the pen and the dials. And these really are great accessories to complement the Adobe apps that Dominic spoke about and that I spoke about earlier on. Also with the Lenovo range, we see it a great product to consider due to its robustness, which I'm sure you can agree for the classroom environment is a big requirement there. Soon we will hopefully be heading back to the classroom. Hopefully we'll be heading back to the classroom. As you can see on screen, we have a range of interactive displays. So these are not only to enhance creativity in the classroom, but also can be used to when putting in place our social distancing measures, which I can imagine are at the top of your agenda at the moment. For example, you can add the Jabra Panacast video solution, which will enable those students still working from home to be able to see their fellow students and the resources the teacher's presenting due to the wide lens on the camera. If you have any other questions about any of these devices, please get in contact with us afterwards. If I move on to headsets now. So we see the Jabra Evolve 2 headset range as the best in class. Like I've highlighted at the top there, it really does help with concentration and collaboration. As I've previously mentioned, you know, during the crazy times we're going through, I'm sure it's difficult to create that learning environment at home, from a hyperactive children running around or fighting family for that quiet space in the house. This can be a thing of the past with these headsets, as it has better noise cancellation than ever before. So have you ever been on a call or an important webinar like this one maybe, and had your battery running low on your headset? As you can see, with a 37-hour battery life, you know, you can almost work a whole working week without this fear. And we also do other headsets here at Pew. As you can see on the screen, we've got the Andrea Communications and the Avid headsets. So for example, with the Avid headsets, we do classroom bundles, which are really competitively priced and are really good if you're trying to kit out a whole classroom. So that's definitely something to consider then. So as well as software and hardware here at Pew, we also do professional managed services. We're a Microsoft Gold partner, so we have the expertise that can get the most out of your Microsoft Teams. So we look at this at 3 different levels. So if you're looking for an immediate remote learning solution, our Microsoft Teams Quick Start service is probably the best one for you. So we tailor it to you, and we listen to the requirements, come up with a plan, and then we give you guidance and technical support throughout. If you're already using Teams, you're on the live event today, I'm assuming you already have some Teams experience. And we can also help you roll out to other users, or help you enable additional features as they come out, like I've listed in the second point there on the screen. And then lastly, we offer technical support and consultancy when it comes to migrating your telephony system to Teams. So the telephony systems are fantastic with Teams because you can use it almost from anywhere and anywhere with internet. So we've actually rolled it out at Pew over the last few months, and it has really transformed the way we work. So if you have any questions about our services, please get in touch with us. So as you can see, I've got Simon and LD's information on screen there. And if you have any questions about anything I've spoken about, they're looking forward to your calls, or any licensing questions. I've seen we've had 1 or 2, and they will get back in touch with you about that then. Right, I'm just gonna, we think we've got a question here for Dominic. If I can bring you back in here, Dominic.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so we've got from Ian Ellis, we've got when will we be able to import multiple photos into Spark to create video slideshows from photos of a school trip, for example?
Okay, import multiple photos into Spark to create a video slideshow. Well, I mean, you can create a video slideshow already using multiple photos, but obviously you kind of go from one photo to the next in Spark Video, so every photo would have its own kind of clip or slide. If you wanted to have multiple images on the screen on one kind of clip within Spark Video, then I would suggest you create those in Spark Post. Just create a collage. You can press plus. Collage is one of the first things you can pull up there, and then you can use those images in your Spark Video. So just to sort of clear that, if you want to do 1-by-1 photos, so it goes as a slideshow video, you can absolutely do that already. If you want to have more than one video on the screen at the same more than one photo on the screen at the same time, then do them in Spark Post and then bring them into Spark Video.
Great, thanks, Dom. I think your presentation must have been that good. That's the only question we've had, so you must have gone into the right amount of depth into it, definitely. Like I said, if you have any other questions, please get in contact with us after the webinar. Yeah, and I'd just like to say thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you again on a webinar soon. So cheers, Dom.
Thanks very much.